everyone. Glad you're here today. This is lesson 1 in learning how to read your credit reports. We're going to start off with probably the easiest of the 3 main credit reporting agency forms. This one's from CSC Credit Services. And follow along if you have your credit report in front of you so we can learn to interpret the information on here. After we get through the basics of how to read the credit report, the really interesting stuff is going to be in comparing what is reported by each of the major agencies to see where there's duplication of the same report or an absence of it. That sometimes can be a big help in moving your credit scores up to where we want them to be. But let's start here with the basics. As you can see in the top left area there, it's the CSC Credit Services, and this happens to be a real report, but it's been excerpted to protect the innocent. It was done on May 17th, 2011. Make sure your name is spelled correctly and it is your social security number and date of birth. Also, it's important to confirm your current address as well as previous addresses. Now, if the previous addresses are not accurate, it depends probably how long ago you may have moved. If you've actually changed address within the last 6 months, your current address may not be present, but will certainly be posted in the next few months. But it's good to look at those previous addresses to make sure they are all places you lived, not someone else with a similar name to yours. We told you that over 70% of credit reports have inaccurate information on them. This is one way we can draw attention to the credit agencies and have them correct any inaccuracies on your particular report. After the addresses, it says last reported employment. That may be your current employer, or again, if you've changed jobs in the last 6 months, it could be still showing one of those reports. And a previous employment also to check to make sure that in fact is your history of things. The top right corner is the perfunctory information by the agency. It's how to get in touch with them. They do have a website, and you can go online to dispute any findings on your report for this particular agency. We'll talk more about disputing credit information with agencies in later lessons. Now let's get down to the really important stuff. This particular report starts immediately with collection agency information, meaning the first thing on this report shows accounts in your name that you did not pay on time with and are still remaining unpaid. Collection agency information means that whoever was the initial lender of the money, whether it's a credit card or a bank or auto loan or those kinds of things, they've generally sold them to collection agencies, and collections agencies are attempting to contact you and gain payment for those. Let's look at this first one here. I'm going to zoom in and highlight the Capital Accounts LLC. The collection reported on May 2011. It was assigned to a creditor class. This particular one is a medical health care client. The specific name is Ballard Family Dentistry, so it was an unpaid bill from a dentist in the amount of $155. And as of May 2011, it was still an unpaid status. Now, the date of the first delinquency was August 2006. And again, the balance in May 2011 is still $155. It's an individual account, and it is currently in the possession of a collection agency that has a P.O. box in Nashville, Tennessee, and an 800 number to contact them. Remember, today we're just learning to read the report. Don't get confused or worried about what this means or try to correct any problems immediately. We'll just take this one step at a time. Because once we look at all these reported on each of the 3 major credit agency reportings, we'll be able to create a strategy of what we do in what order that's going to have the most beneficial impact on your credit scores, to bring it up as many points as we can by doing the easy things first and then taking on the more complex, time-consuming ones later. All right, this next citation under here is Rent Debt Automated Collections. This collection was reported initially in December 2009, but it was assigned in March 2007. The credit class is rental leasing client prime properties. So this is probably some past rental or monthly rent on an apartment that was unpaid in the amount of $1,938. And again, the status of December 2009, it was unpaid. The delinquency occurred in February 2007, and the balance remains $1,938. It's an individual account, and this particular collection agency has an address in Murfreesboro Pike, Nashville, Tennessee. The third and last item on the first page of this credit report is Credit Systems collection reported in April 2011, assigned in October 2008, and it's a medical health care client, MedStar Metropolitan, and I think AMB stands for ambulance, in the amount of $432. That probably was a ambulance transport to or from a hospital, and it was an unpaid transport fee. The status as of April 2011 is it's still unpaid. The delinquency first occurred in September 2008, and the balance remains $432. It's an individual account, and this particular collection agency is, I guess, MedStar. Its address anyway is a P.O. Box in Arlington, Texas. So those are the first three collection agency citations on this credit report. Now, if you're looking at yours and there's nothing under the collection agency information, you're in great shape. Most people do have some history here, and these are the kinds of accounts and histories that we can take some positive action for. So I want you to review the rest of this report, and we're going to pick up with the next section in Lesson 2.